very... Sorry, as you were. So thank you, Amber, very much. And I want to thank Hunter College, particularly, and the Spark Leadership Committee for hosting this groundbreaking summit. And I'm so happy to see all of you here. I thought I would tell you a little bit about how I became so passionate about the image of girls in media. So, evidently, I announced that I wanted to become an actress when I was 3. This is what my parents told me. I don't remember, and I have no idea what I could have possibly seen at 3 that convinced me, but my goal never wavered. So when it came time for college, I went to BU and studied acting, which is a great idea, to major in acting, because that always works out. I had no clue. I didn't know. Here's a telling little example. The very first class we had was a sort of orientation. There's about 100 kids in the class. And the professor says, you know, I must tell you that you've chosen an incredibly difficult profession. In fact, only about 1% of you will ever be able to make your living as an actor. And I thought, oh, these poor kids. But I believe that if any of us wants to do something extraordinary with our lives, we need to have unshakable faith in ourselves. In many different areas of my life, I've discovered that the conviction that things will go my way has served me very well. So after school, I didn't know how you're supposed to get a job in acting. I mean, shouldn't they tell the one person who's going to succeed what to do next? So I devised a plan. I would become a famous model, and then they would just offer me parts in movies. A big block to my supermodeldom, besides the fact that it was never going to happen, although I was on one cover of New Jersey Monthly. Maybe didn't show, but I had a profoundly bad self-image. In high school, everybody has something that tortures them. And for me, it was being the tallest kid in class. My graduation pictures from kindergarten and from high school were exactly the same, like this. I was all gangly and awkward, and my fondest dream was to take up less space in the world. I was convinced that I was uncoordinated. I didn't want to try anything physical, which was a problem because the girls' basketball team was desperately trying to recruit me. And I said, I can't play basketball. They said, well, just stand there. You're the tallest girl in the county. So I had this unshakable faith that I was going to be in movies, but I had no idea that I still wouldn't like myself once I got there. It turns out that getting millions of people to approve of you is not a cure for feeling badly about yourself. My self-image breakthrough came when I had to learn baseball for the movie A League of Their Own. And learning the sport affected how I saw my body. I started to feel that it's okay to take up space, to use my body and inhabit it, because I could do things with it. For most of my life, I never felt truly comfortable with myself, that I wasn't faking it or that I deserved to be successful, until I dramatically improved my self-image through sports. And that's why I became a trustee of the Women's Sports Foundation, because I wanted to help girls experience the benefits I did, like decades earlier than I did. So if you happen to have heard that I took up archery and you thought, random, maybe you understand a little better now. I decided that I wanted to take up a sport in the really real way, not in the, abbreviated movie way. And I hit on the idea of archery at age 41. And after, admittedly, terrific amounts of work and practice, I ended up in the Olympic trials 2.5 years later. Because this belief in yourself thing can really take over. And now, frankly, I have to be careful what I get involved with because eventually I will want to go to the Olympics in it. I tell my husband that this is why I can't cook dinner. So, as an actor, I've always been attracted to parts that were unique and different, where the female character actually gets to do stuff. The only true housewife, actually, that I ever played was dead in Beetlejuice. But being cast in Thelma and Louise was truly a life-changing experience. Early on in my career, if someone recognized me as a dry cleaner or whatever, they might say they liked Beetlejuice or The Fly. This was sort of my bug phase. But after Thelma and Louise came out, it was completely different. Even that opening weekend, I had women coming up to me and like grabbing my lapels and saying, "Oh my God, that movie, you have no idea." Or, "My friend and I acted out your script." So if I ever had needed a lesson in the power of media images, I certainly had it now. And this brought home to me in a very powerful way how few opportunities we give women to come out of a movie feeling excited and inspired. So since then, I've always tried to choose roles that make women feel good about women. Stories where the character gets to decide her own fate. So, a while back, with this spidey sense about women's roles that I now had, I started watching G-rated movies and kids' television shows with my daughter, who was about 2, and I was floored to see what I thought was a large gender imbalance, many more male characters than female characters in these entertainments that are aimed at the youngest kids. And I started checking with my friends. I said, "Did you notice there was only one female character in that movie besides the mother that gets killed in the first 5 minutes?" And they were like, "Oh my God, no, I didn't notice." So it occurred to me that in the 21st century, we should be seeing and showing boys and girls sharing the sandbox equally. So I decided that I wanted to actually talk to the creators of kids media about this. But I realized that I would need to have the numbers instead of just my impression. So we sponsored the largest research study ever done on G-rated films and kids' TV shows made for kids 11 and under at the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. And Dr. Stacy Smith, who did the research, is here today, and she will be presenting our newest research this afternoon. So the results were stunning. They showed that our culture is reflecting a very unbalanced world to children. In G-rated films, for every 1 female character, there are 3 male characters. And in group scenes or crowd scenes, only 17% of characters are female. And significantly, this imbalance showed absolutely no improvement in the now 20-year period that we studied. And of the female characters that did exist, the vast majority were highly stereotyped or hypersexualized. For example, the female characters in G-rated movies wear just about the same amount of sexually revealing clothing as characters in R-rated movies. We judge our value in society by seeing ourselves reflected in the culture. You say, oh, I see myself. There I am. I must matter. I must be important. So what message are we sending little girls and boys about girls if the female characters are one-dimensional, sidelined, hypersexualized, or simply not there at all? By feeding our youngest kids a seriously imbalanced world from the very beginning, we're enculturating yet another generation to see that women and girls are less important than boys and men. So we each have an opportunity to become agents of change. We can start today. We can look everywhere with new eyes and notice this gender imbalance, encourage our friends and family and our children to notice too, because it's by changing the cultural message that women and girls are less important that we will be able to empower women to reach their full potential. Our world can only improve when women and girls are given their rightful seat at the table. Like Bill and Melinda Gates say, I am an impatient optimist. I really think we can make this change, and if all of us can start noticing and actively working, we can get to critical mass, we can affect the dramatic change that's necessary. And I congratulate Spark on their first summit, and may we all take this opportunity to discover, take action, and jumpstart a movement for change.